Have you ever reread your notes, felt confident, and thought, yeah, I know this, then later realized you couldn't explain it at all? That's not because you forgot. It's because your brain never learned it in the first place. This is a well-documented problem in learning science. Your brain often confuses familiar with learned. When you reread something, recognition becomes easier. The words look known. The ideas feel smooth. And your brain takes that feeling as evidence of learning. But researchers have shown this feeling is misleading. In multiple studies on study habits, students who relied heavily on rereading consistently overestimated how well they understood the material, yet performed worse on tests compared to students who practiced recall. The brain felt confident. The results disagreed. Here's why that happens. Rereading keeps the information in front of you. Your brain doesn't need to retrieve anything. Recognition is passive. It requires very little effort, and the brain is efficient. If something feels easy, it assumes no change is needed. So it stops investing energy. But learning doesn't happen through recognition. It happens through retrieval. Cognitive psychologists have tested this directly. In classic retrieval practice experiments, one group rereads material several times. Another group reads once, then closes the book and tries to recall the information from memory. Even though the recall group feels less confident and makes more mistakes, they consistently remember more days or weeks later. Not because they studied longer, but because their brains were forced to work. Struggle signaled importance. This effect is so reliable it has a name: the illusion of competence. You feel like you understand something because it looks familiar. But familiarity only exists while the information is visible. Once it's gone, the knowledge collapses. That's why people often say, "I understand it when I see it." That sentence is the warning sign. Your brain doesn't care how clear something feels in the moment. It cares whether the information can survive without support. If it can't be retrieved, explained, or applied on its own, your brain treats it as incomplete, even if it felt obvious minutes ago. Now here's how to actually use this without studying more or longer. First, stop rereading until things feel smooth. Smoothness is not the goal. Recall is. After reading something once, close the material sooner than feels comfortable and ask yourself what you remember. If recall is weak, that's not failure. That's accurate feedback. Second, try explaining the idea without looking at your notes. Studies show that attempting to explain information in your own words exposes gaps that rereading hides. If your explanation breaks, that's exactly where learning should focus. Go back only after the attempt. Third, delay checking the answer. Research on error-based learning shows that making a mistake and then correcting it leads to stronger memory than seeing the correct answer immediately. The brief discomfort tells the brain, this matters. Instant correction removes that signal. Fourth, separate exposure from learning. Reading, watching, and listening are exposure. They start the process. Learning begins when you test whether the knowledge can stand on its own. If you never remove the support, your brain never finishes the job. And finally, stop when mental effort turns into fog. Productive struggle strengthens memory. Fatigue weakens it. When recall attempts become sloppy and confused, stop and rest. Consolidation happens after effort, not during burnout. Here's the key shift. Familiarity feels good. Learning feels effortful. If studying ever feels harder than you expect, that's often a sign you've stopped recognizing and started actually learning. Most people stop when things feel clear. Your brain learns when clarity disappears. So think about this. When was the last time something felt familiar but wasn't actually learned?